Joined by Andrew Kelly. And Andrew, a $2 million new slot race, some possible enhancements to some of our derbies. It's all part of an exciting Advance Australia initiative or project or proposal that I want to find out a lot more about. Firstly, tell us about the slot race, what's being proposed.
Yeah, Adam, exactly right. So a new major event, a pot of gold, if you like, something that the industry's been certainly asking for. A major event with cut through across all racing codes, but also the entire world, as it would become the richest harness racing event in the world. $2 million is an ambitious target. It's something that the HRA executive are really keen to see get off the ground. And from that perspective, it's important to note that there will be contributors to this from right across the industry. $2 million is the prize money tag, but to do this right, we need to be able to market it right. We need to promote it right. We need free-to-air television. We need all the bells and whistles to be right in place from the word go to make this the event that the industry deserves. And from that perspective, the slot race, it's unashamedly built on the Everest model. It's been an outstanding success. Harness racing needs its own version. And from that perspective, we'll be looking at introducing people to buy a slot. There's 10 slots available. That'll raise $1 million in its own right at $100,000 a slot. And then we'll add to that to build not just the prize money pool, but then to promote the event, as I said, in the way that we deserve.
So there'll be money around a marketing budget and things like that, which is obviously important. Into some of the details of it, why a 3- and 4-year-old race? And based on that, what time of year?
Yeah, so what we're seeing, particularly in the thoroughbreds and other places around the world, is that there's colt-making races, and we really don't have that in Australia just yet. We've seen the advancement of a lot more local size in recent times, and last season was a particularly strong year for local size, but we'd like to add and build on that. So from that perspective, we're looking or hoping that this race will actually be something that people can aim their colts for. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And whilst there won't be any eligibility requirements for colt or ties in terms of the 3- and 4-year-olds that race in the event, there will be bonuses on top of the prize money available in order that we hope that people will aim for this particular event. We were originally looking, and I suppose it's fair to say for people to understand some of our thinking around this, at a 2- and 3-year-old race. But with this change in the racing season and just how successful that's been, it's been a monster for everyone. It's been really, really good. It just didn't make sense to be running it at the end of the year. So we're looking at an April-May time slot for a $2 million slot race, currently called the Pinnacle. That name may change. That's the working title. And we think that the 3- and 4-year-olds is right in the slot, in the wheelhouse of where we need to be, both from the moment we launch it and into the longer term, because we hope this has an amazing tradition to come.
We saw the success of the Rising Sun, which is for that age group at a similar time, and you could complement each other, I guess, as well, couldn't you, given the timing around that? Andrew, one question that people are going to have is, why create a new race? Why not just throw this money, and we'll talk about where some of the money's going to come from in a moment, but why not just throw it towards a marquee brand like the Interdominion?
Yeah, this is about creating something new. This is about a line in the sand moment for the industry to create something from scratch. The Interdominion is a pinnacle event. There's no doubt about it. It's a brand that is renowned around the world and is already run for a decent sum of prize money. That won't leave us. We're welded onto the tradition of the Interdominion in terms of that brand and making it to be the best race and series that it can be every given year. But this is a new opportunity, a new leaf. This will be an event that will drag and bring and attract new people to our sport. This will bring syndications with it on the back of it. That's something that a slot race provides that nothing else can. And whilst, yes, in some people's eyes, this might seem like an elitist event, and there will only be a select number of people that have the wherewithal to buy a slot. They're only buying a slot. Where the money ends up and where the money flows to, from both a breeding perspective, an owner's perspective, a trainer and driver perspective, is at the negotiation table with those slot holders. So this is bigger than just 10 people at the end of the day. This will reverberate right down and across the industry.
Okay, so part of the money will come from something which was discussed a while ago and wasn't well met in some areas of the industry, and that's a stallion / breeding levy.
Exactly right, Adam. At the time, we had a concept to raise some new and additional money for the industry, but we didn't have a concept for how it might be spent. At that time, what we were looking for was people to tell us what they thought would be a good event or initiatives to enhance the industry. What we've come back with now is what we firmly believe is a great shot in the locker for the industry to really project itself forward. And in order to fund that, we're looking at various parts of the industry to assist. And so from that perspective, we've been speaking with the state controlling bodies with regard to the clearance fees. At the moment, most of the people listening to this would appreciate that when horses are cleared into Australia, HRA clear the money through to the states with those funds returning to the states where that horse ends up. The state controlling bodies have said to Harness Racing Australia, you can now retain that money. So the money that would go to the states will now go into this race. We're looking at the ways and the success of the export market from a wagering perspective, with international punters providing some of the funding for this. And we met with studs and breed associations Friday week ago now, and we put on the table to them that this is a concept we really believe in. If they do, we'd like to know what they would like to contribute, or if they would like to contribute to it at all. And we await their response to that. So ball's in the court of those persons within within that sector of the industry, if they'd like to assist and participate in what is really a new marquee event and a real boom for the industry.
All right. We've got a few other things I want to chat about as well, but give us a time frame on this.
2024 would be the soonest that we could run it. The way in which we're looking at doing this, if the studs are interested in assisting us, was that it would be pay on live foal after the next racing season. So it's a stay-in registration fee, which is paid at the end of the season, not the start of the season. It may well be that we're in a position to underwrite that earlier rather than later, and that would be a great position to be in. But until we know who's willing to participate, how we're going to fund it, and sustain it, at the moment it's 2024.
All right. I look forward to getting updates as we go on this one, but now it's burning questions time, because there's a few other issues in the industry as well. Talk to me about the issues, the challenges, the drama, and it is virtually some drama at the moment between the calendars, the racing calendars in New Zealand and Australia. What consultation took place before New Zealand announced its calendar? We know that decisions have been made in Australia which have upset the New Zealanders, but there's a bit of tit for tat from my point of view in what's been announced in New Zealand.
Yeah, and I can understand how it might seem that way from your perspective, Adam, but as far as the calendar was concerned, that was a complete blindside. We were extremely disappointed to see the calendar without having any opportunity to have any input into it at all. And in the background of that, we were quite comfortable in supplying what was at that time, the 1st of October, a draft calendar to Harness Racing New Zealand. Our dates never changed in that period of time, nor were we asked if they had. So to then see that there were a number of clashes directly aligned to some of the dates that we'd already proposed for particular events was a disappointment without the opportunity to be able to consult or discuss a way forward. It's disappointing because we know New Zealand horses competing in Australia is good for both countries. And we also know that Australian horses competing in New Zealand is great for both countries. And we prefer to see the maximised opportunities for all of those horses and all of those participants, and particularly the commercial opportunities that come as a result of that. As in terms of what other areas that we may have upset Harness Racing New Zealand about, I'm not sure what they are. My phone's always on, the email's always open, and if there is anything, it would be good to know what they were, because there's nothing that can't be worked through. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, and things certainly need to be worked through, but I'm not going to go into all of the elements of that at the moment. But what about the interdominion and New Zealand pulling out? Does the interdominion have a heartbeat based on that?
Yeah, I think it does, and we're committed to ensuring its longevity, as I mentioned earlier in the interview. And it's just absolutely brilliant that, from a smooth transition perspective, Queensland was so well resourced and ready to take the mantle and exchange that position with Harness Racing New Zealand. I'm not sure what the future holds. If Harness Racing New Zealand's position improves to the point where they're able to rejoin the rotation, that would be great. But it's not absolutely vital for the future of the interdominion, and we look forward to an Eastern Seaboard rotation for the next little while. And who knows, all going well, we may well head back to the west in the not too distant future.
Okay, stallion caps. Last year, the rule was brought in 150. You've had a little bit of time to analyse it now. Give us a snapshot.
One of the best breeding seasons on record. Just about all the trends were reversed in sort of 10 or 15 years. We had 21 sires serving more than 100 mares. The diversity that'll be on offer in the next round of yearling sales will be as good as we've seen, and I hope that will actually then generate into dollars at the sales at the drop of the hammer, similar to what we've seen in America in recent years. And I think it's onwards and upwards. There's still more sires coming to Australia. The newest and the shiniest and the best are still making their way here, and the local sires are also shining through and getting plenty of opportunity now. Speaking with a number of studs in recent times, they're as busy as they've ever been. So whether it be frozen, whether it be chilled, or the domestic sires, everyone seems like they're in a pretty good position at the moment. After what I've got to say was a little bit of a slow start, bit of a sputtering start, but it seems like that's been made up for now. And yeah, we're hoping for another really good bumper crop.
That's encouraging. We know not long ago, spoke to Dave Hazlitt in America about the big upside of COVID. And we know it's been so challenging for a lot of people. So I don't want to make light of it in any way, but there is no hiding the fact COVID has been actually a very good thing for harness racing.
Yeah, absolutely right, Adam. And again, we're able to now look back and see that it wasn't just one blip. That blip in terms of the growth that we saw has been able to be built on for a second year.
And internationally and domestically, Andrew.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's just great to see. And the interview with Dave, for those that haven't seen it, have a look at it on the website. It's intriguing in its own right. It's great growth there, and there's plenty of growth still to come in the US. And the other thing, we've been working for 12 months now really closely with ATG in the Swedes, and we've doubled the revenue that's coming from the Scandinavians in that 12-month period, just by being a bit more bespoke with our calendar. These are the opportunities that we need to be ready for. These are the networks that we've built and spent so much time building now. So we're starting to see some of the benefits of that. And this revenue that we're now generating from international wagering, and HRA's had a role to play, but the states are putting this together as well, is approaching $5 million net now. So, it's a really big and important part of our industry.
Terrific. Look, there's a lot more we can talk about, but I think we've given a relatively extensive update today. No doubt people will have some questions, and there'll be some feedback to this Advance Australia proposal. I propose to you that we get back together in another month or two and discuss some of the feedback that you have received on it.
Yeah, absolutely right, Adam. And just prior to the Interdominion finals, we'll be having our annual general meeting. There'll be plenty of news out of that. So, yeah, let's keep doing this on a regular basis. It's good.
Great stuff. Thanks for your time today.
No, thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.